People eat this in a restaurant and they absolutely love it. Very few people attempt it at home, but we're going to change all that now, and you're going to end up with a beautiful, simple, homemade risotto. Cooking risotto is an incredibly straightforward process. You've just got to follow some very basic steps. So to start off, I've got a really nice pan on a nice low heat. That's the key. You want to keep it low throughout the whole cooking process. So I'm starting off with some nice extra virgin olive oil in there. What we're going to do is we're going to sweat our onions off really, really slowly along with that garlic until they basically become translucent. We don't want to hear any sizzling, any big heat, nothing at all. Just a really, really slow, medium heat. So in they go. I'm also going to go in with my garlic. And some nice fresh thyme leaves. Now for about 4 or 5 minutes I'm going to cook this really, really slowly. So those onions have been sweating there for about 4 or 5 minutes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add my butter in there. That's going to help them soften up really nicely, those onions. Over here you can see that I've got a nice little pot with my chicken stock. What I've done is I've turned that on and brought it up to heat. We're going to basically be adding our stock in nice and slowly throughout the process, and it'll really help us if it's hot already. So we can move on to the next process, which is adding our arborio rice. Now there's only one type of rice that you can use for risotto, in my opinion. That's arborio. It's classical Italian. I've seen people making it with all sorts of different rices. You just don't get the same end result. They're little short grains, quite fat, and by the time they cook, they're going to have real nice viscosity and stick together really nicely. So we sweat that, and in it goes. Now it's very important at this stage that we maintain that really low flame. If you look under there, it's an absolutely minimal flame. Because what we want to do, and this is quite unusual as far as rice is concerned, we want to cook that rice a little bit. So about 1 minute, we're going to sweat it off nice and slowly in our pan. And what will happen after that minute is it's exactly the same as the onions. The rice will actually start to become a little bit translucent. So just keep it moving around at this stage, very important. Now the next thing that I'm going to add, I'm just going to turn the temperature up ever so slightly. Because what we want to do with the wine, I'm adding a nice dry white wine. And what we want to do is that'll start cooking the rice, but we want to evaporate all those harsh alcohol flavours in there, and we just want to be left with the nice sweetness of the wine. You can also very easily add a nice vermouth in at this stage. Would work very well, or a nice dry white wine. So we'll just cook that on that slightly higher heat until that alcohol starts to evaporate, which should take about a minute altogether, I guess. You've got to give yourself about 20 minutes, and you've got to accept the fact that you're going to be standing there at the stove constantly stirring it. We're at the stage that is so crucial. I've got, in this hand, I'm stirring the pot, and in my left hand, I've got a ladle with my chicken stock. Now 1 ladle at a time. In it goes. No more than that. If you put any more than that, the risotto is going to boil with all that liquid in it. We're doing a process that the Italians call all'ombre. Now what that means is basically, I'm stirring it, and all'ombre means in the shape of a wave. So you can just see that there's no more than a wave in there. There should never be rice on the bottom with liquid above it. It should just have that really nice wavy consistency. And we want to keep that through the whole cooking process. So as soon as we see it starting to dry up a little bit again, we'll go in with another ladle of stock. And we'll basically just keep stirring and repeating that process always. As soon as it gets a little bit dry, another ladle, until all our chicken stock is gone. Our rice will start to expand, and we'll be left with a really nice, smooth, velvety risotto. So I haven't left my pot once. We've been on here for about 6 or 7 minutes, and you can really see that risotto starting to resemble the finished product. Still got a little way to go. I'm adding in my stock slowly, always stirring. I'd say another 6 or 7 minutes, continuing that process, and we'll end up with a really incredible risotto. So that's the risotto very nearly finished. what I'm going to do is just turn down my heat. You can see that I've added all of my stock is gone. It's all been absorbed by that rice. The lovely starches come out, and we end up with a really nice, gloopy sort of risotto. Now, you've got to check, of course, that it's cooked, which it is. So it's definitely cooked, nice and soft. If there was still a little bit of bite in that risotto, you could add a little bit of water rather than stock at the end, just to finish the cooking. Absolutely perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to season it up with some pepper. This is, as I said earlier, the base of any risotto is cooked in this way. It doesn't change at all. You can add whatever you want to flavour it, but if you're making a risotto, the simple process will never change. So nice amount of salt. Looks absolutely fantastic. I'm also going to add some nice cheese in there. Best cheese to use when making a risotto, Parmigiano Reggiano. It's got a beautiful flavour that complements the risotto really, really well. We'll also finish it with the remainder of our butter. That'll enrich in the risotto and really give it a nice body. Risotto should be like molten lava. It should just fall off your spoon really easily. That's the finished product. As soon as that butter's incorporated in there, we're ready to serve it. And I'm really excited about that one. It smells and looks absolutely